Hey everyone, I'm going to show you an easy way to assemble the 4x4 Speedcube. Before we get onto assembly, I'm going to introduce all the pieces that make up a 4x4 cube. So starting out with all the pieces you can see from the outside, the pieces that have 3 colors are corners. The pieces with 2 colors are wings. The pieces with 1 color are centers. Now, inside there are pieces that are part of the mechanism that you normally don't see. So you see the screws here? Those are part of the core. And this is a piece that pulls all the other pieces together. And then there are 2 types of internal pieces, these things over here. The first type is what I call the big internal piece. And then this is what I call the small internal piece. Here's a picture of an assembled 4x4 cube, except I've taken some pieces out so you can see what the inside looks like, how all the pieces are laid out. So we're going to start off with an important building block, which I call a triplet. So if you take a big internal piece and then a small internal piece, you can put them together like this. So notice that the part that sticks out of a small internal piece needs to be facing outwards. If you attach it like the opposite direction, it's not going to fit. So okay, you have a big, a small, and then add another small internal piece to the big one, and that forms a triplet, and that's an important building block. So the first step is going to be putting a triplet in between 2 square pieces on the core, like this. Start by putting 2 fingers, let's say your index and your middle finger, put them through a square piece like this. And then what we're going to do is, let's say, build a triplet between these 2 square pieces. So start off with a small internal piece. The part that sticks out, this one, will go touch the square piece like this. If you put it the other way, it's not going to fit. And then get the big internal piece and then put it in like that. So make sure that you support this with 3 fingers like this, and then add another small internal piece at the end, and make sure the part that sticks out goes outwards like that. This can be very fiddly. And then what we're going to do with this triplet we've just made is attach it to another square piece. So find another square piece that's besides the one you started with, so this one, and then pull it up, pull it all the way up, and then put the triplet onto this center like this. This can be a very difficult step and it might fall out a lot, but you'll get used to it over time. And if you find that there's not enough room to put this triplet, then what you can do is loosen every screw by the same amount, let's say a couple quarter turns, and that should make it a lot easier to put it together. The next step is to build a second triplet so that both the triplets form a V shape. I recommend putting a piece of tape over the first triplet and the square pieces, and now let's build a second triplet, let's say here. So we can begin by putting our 2 fingers between a square piece as usual, and then we'll put in a small internal piece, a big internal piece, and then another small internal piece, and that makes a triplet. Now this is the tricky part. What you need to do is to join this triplet with this piece, and the part that sticks out of the small internal piece needs to go underneath the square. So what you need to do is try to bend the pieces inwards, you see, like that. Bend the pieces a bit inwards, so they're curved, and then slowly move this and slide it underneath the square piece. This can be pretty tricky if your cube is tight, so you may want to loosen the screws. So that makes a V shape. Now we're going to fill in the V with pieces. The first piece that you'll want to put in is a centerpiece, and that goes in like this. And then let's put 2 wings in. So the first wing can go like this. The second wing like this. And you can put in the pieces however you like. They don't need to match, but there's only one rule that you need, which is that next we're going to put in this corner piece. And this corner piece needs to have either the white or the yellow sticker on it facing either the bottom or the top. So in this case, this is the bottom corner, so we want the yellow sticker to be at the bottom like this. And that way we can put the cube together and it will be in a solvable state. So now what we need are two centers. So we'll put a centerpiece here and a centerpiece there. And then it's time for another wing. So you want the wing to go in this way so that there's a gap here. And now what we're going to do is fill in this triplet that goes within the gap. So we can start off with a small internal piece, and then we can put it in like this. So the part that sticks out is with the square, like this, and then a large internal piece, and another small one. And what you do with the small one is slide it in. So you slide it in carefully like this. You can put the cube down. And you might end up in a situation where it doesn't want to go in. So you need to make sure that the pieces are down like this. And now you've formed this 2x2x2 block. And this is the smallest part of the cube you can build that supports itself. So what we can do now is remove the piece of tape that we had in the beginning, like this. Next step is to mirror everything we built on one side onto the other side. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. For example, we have this wing piece here on one side. We want to mirror this onto the other half. So you can put another wing piece like this. And then we have these two center pieces on one side. We want it on the other side as well. And so that's just an easy way of knowing which pieces to put in next, is to mirror what you already have. And this corner piece we also want to have on the other side, so we'll put that in. And remember what I said about corner pieces. You want the white or yellow sticker to be on the top or the bottom. Since we're putting this piece on the bottom side, you want the white to be on the bottom, like this. And now I'm going to put this flat on the table, and then I'm going to put in another wing piece. We want to mirror the wing piece that's over here, so we want it there, like this. And then we want to put another centerpiece here. And then we're going to mirror this wing piece here. So we'll put another wing piece. And now you'll notice that there's this gap that we want to fill. Since on one side we have this triplet, we also want this on the other side. So to build a triplet, you put in one small internal piece, and then one big internal piece, like this, and then a small internal piece. So you can put this in by sliding it in carefully like that. And now what you can do is rotate this whole thing to put it on its side, and then now we can fill in this gap here. So we'll build another triplet. So we'll put in, and voila, there we have it. And next we're going to repeat the process where we mirror this block of pieces onto the other side. I'll go a bit faster now because it's the same as before. So for example, this wing, we're going to mirror it onto the other side. And then it was two centers, so we'll do that again. Two centers. And then a corner piece, remember we want the white side to be on the bottom, like this. And then we put a wing here, and then a center here. I'll put this on the ground so it doesn't fall apart. A wing, and we're going to fill in this triplet. And then I'm going to flip it over and then fill this in. Like that. And now we're going to fill in this. Remember, this looks like a V again. So remember how we filled in the V with pieces? We're going to repeat that process here. So we'll start with the center piece and then 2 wings. And then this is yellow on it, so we want the yellow to be facing down. And then we'll put in 2 centers. A wing, and then we're going to fill in this triplet into this gap. And there we have it. We're done the first 2 layers of the 4x4 cube. In order to assemble the second half of the puzzle, we can repeat a lot of things we did on the first half. So we can start by mirroring this block of 2x2x2 pieces onto the other side. So remember, this wing piece, we can mirror it onto the other side, and then there's these 2 centers we can mirror, and I'll time lapse through this part. Then I'm going to turn over this to fill in this gap with the triplet. And now you can see that there's a V shape, so we can fill in the V as we did before. And here we are. And then we can fill this V shape with pieces as usual. Now we're on the last step, which is to fill in the remaining 2x2x2. And this is where things get different. So what you need to do first is to put in the last remaining centers here. So I'll put them in. And then we're going to stick in the last remaining corner, make sure it's twisted the right way so that the white is on the top, because this is a top layer corner. And we'll just stick it in like this. And then we need to put in the last remaining wings. Like this. The cube is complete. Thanks for watching. I hope you found that helpful.